Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Whip It Like Butter. It's your girl Ashley, and of course, I'm bringing you yet another pound cake recipe. So, we're keeping with our sour cream pound cake series, all right? So, we're on sour cream pound cake 3.0. This one was made with salted butter, and child, if you call my live that I did on this cake, I was talking about how this cake reminds me of definitely a traditional homemade back in the day made by grandma pound cake. That salted butter just like really took that cake up another notch. Now I always add salt in my recipes when I use my unsalted butter, but it's definitely a difference with using the salted butter versus unsalted butter. And I use Sam's brand. I'm not specific to brands when I'm talking about this, but the salted butter definitely made a difference. It's been talked a lot about in my group, and y'all was right. The salted butter is everything. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this recipe. Just want to show you how to make it. Let's go. Okay, y'all, not only are we using salted butter for this recipe, but we also came back with the half cake flour, half all-purpose flour combo because that was really good last time, all right? So y'all know we start off by whipping our butter by itself for a few seconds before we start slowly adding in our sugar, okay? Using salted butter, no additional salt. That was enough salt for me, all right? Gave the cake a nice balance. So we're slowly adding in our sugar here. Real nice and slow. Turn your mixer down to like a 1, no higher than a 2. Same thing for like a hand mixer so you're not kicking your sugar out as you're adding it to your bowl. All right, so we get that all nice and blended. Y'all know how we do for about 5 minutes. If you're using a stand mixer, it should start pulling away to the sides of the bowl like it is here, but still clumping up, in the middle if you're not using like an edge scraper. All right, so until it's nice, light, and fluffy, you may need to stop your mixer, take a look, and make sure that you have the right consistency before you start adding in your next ingredient. Sometimes that happens too. All right, so we're coming back with the vanilla bean paste. I don't know if you can see the bottle, but it's also linked in my Amazon store. I like that link, my products that I enjoy there. Vanilla bean paste gives the cake a nice flavor, y'all. Gives it a boost more than regular vanilla extract. It's a little pricey. I ain't gonna lie. It's a little pricey, but it's definitely worth the price if you're ready to invest. All right. So we're adding that to the batter as well, just until it's mixed, and we're gonna add in our eggs. And y'all, I'm so used to making mile highs. I almost measured out 10 eggs for this recipe, but we're only using 6. We're using 6 room temperature eggs, okay? Y'all know we add them one at a time. We mix them. Once the yellow starts going away, we start adding the next egg, right? Okay, we do that until we have all the eggs added to our batter. Not too much. We don't want to over mix the eggs, all right? Just until the yellow starts going away, and then we stop. Okay, so of course I sped up the video here just to show you that we added all the eggs. We just want to capture that in the video. And then we're going in and we're scraping down the sides of our bowl, all right? We want to do that before we take our next step. You can scrape down your sides of your bowl between each step if you want to. Okay, so we're adding in our flour. We already have our flour combined, our all-purpose and our cake flour, right? But also have our baking powder here. Y'all know I don't sift. You can sift if you want to. That's how I grew up too, but I don't sift. I use pre-sifted flour, and cake flour doesn't need to be sifted. That doesn't mean that you can't sift. You can sift your flour regardless if you want to. You can sift pre-sifted flour. That definitely is a preference. You have to figure out what you want to do. It does make your flour finer if that's more of a texture that you're looking for. I like a dense pound cake. That can make your texture of your pound cake a little more light and fluffy, right? Okay, so we're just going back and forth with our flour and our sour cream. We want to start with our flour and we want to end with our flour until we've added all of it into our bowl. Common question that I've been asked is, what is the size of my mixing bowl? This was actually gifted to me by my grandmother, so I don't know. But I do have a smaller mixer, and I've made mile highs in that one as well. You may have to slow down with adding your flour so your flour doesn't kick out, but I've used both. So you can use, play around, see if your mixer bowl has the size volume, or you can use a hand mixer. It's completely up to you. So y'all know I finished the last part just mixing by hand. with my bowl just to make sure we get everything around the sides and the bottom as well mixed into the batter. All right, and then we're going to get ready to spray our pan. Our oven is already preheated to 325 degrees. All right, so all we're going to do is spray the hell out that pan. All right, definitely make sure you get around the middle. And what else I always say, y'all, the creases and the crevices is very important. Use your pastry brush if you need to, so you can get all into those areas. I have my batter in 2 layers. Y'all know I'm extra like that, but when I didn't before, I used to have tunneling. So I just created a habit of adding my batter in 2 layers so I don't have any tunneling in the cake batter. All right, so we're adding our first layer here. This is a 12-cup pan. I recommend that you bake with a 12-cup pan unless you know your volume of batter is going to be smaller. 12 cups is a good standard. Most pound cakes are like 10, 11 cups, I would say. 10 to 12. Let's say 10 to 12. So this pan gives you enough room to make most pound cakes and still have room for your cake to rise. You don't want to overfill your pan. You want to leave at least an inch of space, no more than say a half inch. And I say that maybe for like, you know, the mini butt pans. But the idea is you want to give your cake room to rise to the top of that pan and not spill over, because if you have it where your pound cake pan is too full, like when you flip it, it can cause cracking around the what would be the top here of that cake. It's just frustrating, right? No matter how careful you are, you still may have that issue if you overfill your pan. So just simply try not to. We're going to bake this cake for an hour, 15 minutes. Bake your cake an hour, not hour. Bake your cake longer if you need to. Time is relative. Every oven is different. You may need to bake it longer. You may need to bake it not as long. All right? Do the toothpick test. It still works. We let our cake cool for about 15 minutes before we went ahead and flipped it from our pan. And ooh, I'm so happy this came out better this time. Because if you saw my live when I made this cake, honey, I wrapped this pan in foil and that pan did not like that. So I had to rebake this cake. And yeah, we good now. And as you can see, it wasn't the pan, it was the foil. Everything ain't for every pan. And works with my high cake pan, it didn't work with this one. Noted, all right. So you know I gotta give y'all a slice of this cake because look how it came out, nice and brown, lovely on the inside. And you know we're gonna get ready to go ahead and have our taste test. All right, let's go. Okay, so y'all see for this one, I flipped the cake the other way. I have been flipping the cake this way, but I flipped it this way this time. But y'all, crust still crusting. And let's go ahead and start there, shall we? Ooh. Made this cake 2 days ago. I'm telling y'all, save some of your cake. I made 2. Taste it in 2 days. So much better than day 1, especially sour cream pound cake. I don't even want to taste up there. This is my favorite part. Y'all know that. The moisture on point. So good. You know that balance of cake flour, all-purpose flour, kind of growing on me. Definitely kind of growing on me. I'm an all-purpose flour kind of girl, but I definitely could do the half and half. All right, I'm finna sit up here and talk and eat. Y'all know what I want y'all to do. Grab the recipe in the description box, or it's also linked in the comments. You can go to my blog, subscribe over there, subscribe over here. Don't be stingy. Make sure that you share and join me back for more over here at Whip It Like Butter. Okay, bye. Because you know, I ain't about to eat all this cake, but I'm going to eat a good amount of this cake, okay?